Welcome to week 2 of the 52-week art journal journey. Before we get started, let's just take a moment to relax and refocus. So prepare your space, sit down, and just breathe. This week is all about letting go of perfection, letting go of our need to have our art live up to some arbitrary standard. Our goal isn't perfect art, but worthwhile art making. Thanks for joining me. Let's make some small art and do some journaling. I went back and forth and back and forth and back and forth about what project to do this week after I decided our focus should be letting go of perfection. Although some of my local library art journaling friends may not be excited to hear it, I've decided this week we are going to do blind contour drawings for 2 reasons. Blind contour drawings help train us to really look at an object and the lines that make it up. They're also near impossible to do perfectly, so we are going to use them also as a way to let go of perfection in our art journals. You're going to need some object with an interesting shape. I have chosen this glass flower that was a gift from my kids once when we went to the Corning Museum of Glass. You'll want something that has an interesting shape but isn't too complex. So I've mentioned the contour part of the project, where we're looking at the lines and shapes and edges of the object. And now the blind part. We're going to draw this object without looking at our paper or our hands. And we're not going to raise the tip of our pen from the paper. If this sounds intimidating, don't worry about it. We're going to have some fun with it. I'm going to start with this when it's lying down bottom leaf. So I can outline the leaf and then down the stem and back up and try to get some of the details of the flower all at once. Do you see what lines we have here? Because we have the line around the outside edge of the flower, and we also have the line on the inner edge. And what would this be? The stamen? You can pause the video and go find your own object and draw along while I'm drawing, or you can watch me first. So it can be really difficult to not look down at your paper. And it sometimes is difficult to not raise your pen from the paper. So I need to pick a spot that will give me some room. I've turned my journal horizontally because I'm drawing something long. And I'm trying to position myself where it's not easy to see my hand and paper. So let's move this out further. So your eyes are going to want to trace the edge of your object, or edges as I said. And you're going to want your hand to follow your eyes basically. As I said, it will be impossible to get a perfect rendering of this flower, but it will be interesting. All right, let's see. Well, I got my lines a little crowded together, and my pen seems to have given up. Well, that's unfortunate. I'm going to try again with another pen, but I'm not going to take this out of my journal because one thing in letting go of perfection is just to accept the art that we make. All right, another pen. Let's see what this one does. Well, let's see what I do with this one. So as you draw, and if you're drawing along with me, remember it's important to take your time, but also don't move so slowly that you just lose momentum. Follow the edges of the object with your eyes and follow your eyes with your hand. All right, attempt number 2. Another interesting attempt. So when you have drawn your object, and preferably I would like you to listen to this next part after you've drawn your object, pause the video, draw your object, restart the video, and then look at your drawing. And then immediately take the time to write down what you think about this drawing. I know some of you are displeased, maybe a lot displeased. Maybe you're embarrassed. But again, I remind you, one of the great things about the art journal is you don't have to show it to anyone but yourself. And accepting your art is also accepting yourself. So after you've written about your sketch, I want you to look at what you wrote about it. I can imagine for many of you, there are some negative thoughts about your poor sketch, and that's okay. And you may be surprised to hear me say it's okay if you had negative thoughts about that sketch. Don't reject those thoughts. Instead, accept them. They are your original opinions of your sketch. As I've said, all emotions are valid and they deserve to be acknowledged. They're also temporary and change based on circumstances. I want you to accept your negative feelings about your sketch, but we're also going to speak some truth by changing our perspective. Some of you may have been happy with your sketch based on the context. You all just drew a picture without looking at it. And for many of you, that was probably uncomfortable, but you did something that made you uncomfortable, and you should be proud of yourself for that. You also did something that it is impossible to be technically perfect at. So in your next section of journaling today, write about that perspective. If you didn't give yourself much grace originally with your sketch, give yourself the grace now. If you're still struggling with that, how would you encourage a friend who had done this project and had the exact same results as you? Speak those accepting, affirming words to yourself. And as we move forward in our 52-week art journal journey, remind yourself to be gentle with yourself, with your art. As we go through our year, there may be projects that you will have to purposely and purposefully give grace. We are imperfect, and our art will be imperfect, but it will always have a purpose. If you came here expecting to improve your skills as an artist, that may happen, because practice makes improvement. But the more important work we do here is in ourselves, not in our journals. If you came here expecting an art teacher, you will be disappointed. We may deal a little bit with technique, and I have my areas where I have more skill than others, but I'm not here to teach you about any particular style or technique. I'm here to encourage you to use art as a form of creative self-care. I'm here to encourage you to use art to process your emotions, to learn to use it as a tool to help deal with stress or depression or anxiety, and sometimes to just plain enjoy it. I am so glad that we are all different and that we all have our own styles. I am so happy to know that every first page that we personalized for this art journal journey is unique. I would love to see some of yours. You can send them to me privately if you'd like. If you'd like to share them on social media, don't forget to tag me and perhaps use the hashtag ArtJournalWithMelinda. If you're finding value in this, be sure to invite people along. If you stumbled upon this video without knowing about the 52-week art journal journey, there will be links in the description where you can sign up, where you can learn more about what this is, and basic supply lists. You can continue to participate without signing up. You can subscribe to be notified when each new prompt video is posted, I'll also be posting some other videos as we go through the year about creativity and mental health. If you do sign up for the newsletter, you will receive notification that the video and the blog post are live, and an extra bit of encouragement as you progress with establishing your own creative self-care practice. We're not as healthy when we're not creating. We're wired for creativity, created in the image of the creator. I hope you weren't too intimidated by trying blind contour drawing if you've never done it before. And I hope if you have done it before and hated it, you don't hate me for asking you to do it. I hope you have or will take the time to do this week's piece of small art and journal about it. First, by being honest about what you're feeling about it and what you're thinking about it, and then looking at it through a more accurate lens, a lens made clearer with grace. I am so excited that you are on this 52-week art journal journey with me. If you'd like to have some more fun with this project, feel free to choose other objects and just layer them right on. But you can also keep your original as a reminder to let go of perfection in your art journal. We're not aiming for perfect art. We're aiming to claim our creativity, to live out a necessary aspect of our identity, which is our creativity. We're aiming to use art to be healthier, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. So as I said, I would suggest keeping your original blind contour drawing on its page adjacent to your journaling, which I talked about but didn't actually do while I was talking. And then I think it would be fun to turn the page and, as I said, either do several renditions of the same object or choose several objects. Just keep layering them over each other. It will create a really interesting image. And again, you can keep that image or you can add colored pencil to it to make it sort of a abstract stained glass. Or you can actually find shapes in it and create something that's less abstract. So I think what I'm going to do next is I'm going to keep my, yes, 2 original sketches, since my pen decided to die on me for part of mine, and layer some blind contour drawings, and then layer some more and color it. So as I said, the blind contour drawing helps us to look at something more closely. And if improving your art skills is one of your goals this year, that's one you'll need. And we also need to regularly take the time to slow down and really look at things, because we can notice so many interesting things. And I hope it has also encouraged you to be willing to just let go when you're creating art in your journal. Don't let the product overcome the process. Don't let what you hope to produce distract you from the process, because that's what this art journal is about. It's the process. Messy progress is still progress. Messy progress is good progress. And our art is and will be perfectly imperfect.